Hello, it's the whatever day this is, talkie. I don't know what day you're seeing it. It might be Saturday night, it might be Sunday, it might be the middle of next year. It's been a chaotic week for me this week, so things have been disorganised, videos have been not made or late. Sorry about that. Not very sorry, I'm not apologising for my life, I like most of it. Right, what have I got to talk about this week? Stuff a bit. First thing is a big thank you to Chris, Samurai Rabbit. Link to his channel down there. In fact, link to specific video down there. He's just started a new series called YouTubed, where he interviews other YouTubers in the community, and I'm the first one. Yay! He just asks me about, well, gaming and my, well, various assorted things about me and retro gaming and collecting and stuff, the kind of things that you would ask if you were interviewing someone in the retro gaming community, maybe. It was a thoroughly enjoyable chat we had. I mean, we chatted a little before and a little after the recording as well, which was all thoroughly enjoyable, and it's just, there's the link down there. Have a watch or a listen after this video. Don't go away yet, but do go check that out, and check out his channel in general, because he's good, he's very good. I enjoy his work a lot. Now, next. Okay, this is partly a niggle and partly a warning, I guess. My video last week, where I talked about Nintendo's troubles. This is actually only going to be of interest to people who monetize their videos, so the rest of you can kind of zone out now, and I'll just be quick about this. YouTube monetized that video, and then after about 5 days demonetized it and sent me a message saying, "We don't believe you have all the rights to this video. Please show us proof that you own all the commercial rights to this video." Two problems with that. One is there is absolutely no gameplay footage whatsoever. It's me talking like this. So what this is YouTube being completely overzealous, because Nintendo are obviously breathing very hard down their neck. Nintendo don't want any videos of showing their content monetized. We know this, we've come to expect this. But YouTube are being overzealous. It's like anything that even mentions Nintendo, nope! Take all the monetization off of that unless they can prove it's theirs, despite the fact that it was just me talking. So I was going to contest it, you know, and say, what the hell, it's just me talking badly, so you can see what it looks like. But the link, well, there's a couple of tick boxes, and then there's one of those multi-option boxes where you click it and supposedly a list comes down and you select one of them. That doesn't work. And there is no way to move on from there because that doesn't work. It's broken. So basically, YouTube, overzealous, broken, take away monetization. What a bunch of plonkers. Yeah, so that's the grumble. The advice, basically, if you're going to make a video talking about Nintendo, don't put Nintendo in your title or your description or your tags, because YouTube are twats and they'll be all over it, and if you're wanting to monetize it, they'll take it away. I can't complain too much in that the monetization had been on there for about 5 or 6 days before they took it off, and it had most of the traffic. But it just shows how utterly shambolic YouTube are in enforcing their own policies or the wishes of companies. You know, that there was no content ID. It's just they saw the name Nintendo, so they're like, oh, quick, pull the ads off of that. I do wonder if Nintendo have hammered them in the past with lawsuits and stuff for copyright, maybe. But there you are, just a quick heads up, that kind of nonsense is happening. Moving on. Next, yes. I kind of have an idea. I've had this idea for a topic in my head for a couple of weeks and been pondering, can I actually make a useful conversation monologue out of it? Your or my relationship with gaming over the years. This is the thing. relationships change over time, and I think it is safe to say that I have, and I imagine most people have, a relationship with gaming, where it fits in their life, how they view it, how they think of it, how other people think of it. What is gaming to you at the various parts of your life, and maybe your life now? What do I mean by that? I'll share with you my relationships with gaming throughout my life, because it has changed a lot. It's gone through phases. And this covers my history of gaming in general, but there's also how it's viewed, how I view it, which is sort of a separate thing. You'll know the story by now, and in fact I tell it whilst speaking to Chris on that video. Gaming for me started before there were video games. It was electromechanical things in amusements, arcades, like at fairgrounds and the seaside on the pier and stuff like that, the Working Men's Club in New Bradwell. And they were a fascinating thing that I sort of understood how they worked. And they were a once-in-a-blue-moon treat, because you didn't come across them very often. They were big, they were bulky, they were heavy. So they were just, at that time, and I was about 4 or 5 or something like that, they were just, for the most part, I didn't have a relationship with gaming at that time. It was a novelty, once-in-a-blue-moon thing. Gaming didn't become a thing, a thing I could say I had a relationship with, until the late 70s, when several friends of mine had Pong machines, and later slightly more advanced Ataris, shall we say. For initially, gaming for me was that really, really cool, desirable thing that I really, really wished I had, that I didn't, that all the rich or better off kids had, that I didn't. It was a thing of envy. It was I love this, I want this, I haven't got this, I feel bad, I feel jealousy. There was absolutely an element of jealousy. I felt jealous when friends of mine had a Pong machine or an Atari and I didn't. And it kind of sucked. I don't think I had a realistic view of what gaming was. I thought it was this. Well, I still had that Pong thing from the having played it in the laundrette in Toaster. It was witchcraft or wizardry, you know, the controlling something on the TV screen. How could you do that? But then, you know, so it went from that amazement through to, this is something my friends have and I don't, and yeah, envy and or jealousy was very much a factor, which was not really healthy. Anyway, that moved on. I started getting your little handheld LED based things like Galaxy 2000 and the tabletop Astro Wars, which wasn't really the same thing. It was fun, I liked them, but they were unsatisfying, because to my mind they weren't the real thing. They were like a cheap substitute. You wanted Coca-Cola, but you got Roller Cola. That really did exist. Those of you who've watched, I've forgotten his name, that northern comedian bloke, Roller Cola, if you're of a certain age, you will know that does or did exist. And Roller Cola was... SodaStream is better. Anyway, we've got one of them. 70s throwback, we have a SodaStream. Some hoo-ha about them setting up a factory or storage facility in the... Is it the West Bank or the Gaza Strip? Don't know. Anyway, that's an entirely different story, and I'm not going into that. So, late 70s, probably actually about 1980, I got a Pong machine. At which point my relationship with gaming changed slightly. That thing that all my friends had got, I now had, though by then I think they were moving on and getting more advanced stuff. But yeah, so there was an element of satisfaction. That thing that I've craved for years, I now have. And then you realise, actually, it ain't all that great. mostly because it's a two-player game and I didn't know anyone else who was that into Pong or video games in general that they would want to play for as long as I wanted to play. It was a constant try and find someone who'll play Pong with me. Yeah, and then of course just getting thrown off the TV because we only had one TV in the house. So yeah, it was kind of, there was an element of frustration and disappointment. And then in '83 I got an Atari, and at a similar kind of era I got a ZX81, and my relationship with gaming changed again. That was probably gaming at its purest and most satisfying and healthy, perhaps, for me. Gaming was then just gaming. I was part of the gang. I had what everyone else had. I could talk in the playground about the games I had that they had, and we could swap games or borrow them and stuff, because people had Ataris and people had ZX81s. Some had Spectrums, but not that I could do a lot with my ZX81 because I didn't have a tape deck. But you know, it was that there was the shared experience, and I fitted in because I had what lots of other people had. And it was just normal. It was go to school, come home, play video games for a bit, watch TV. It seemed it was quite healthy. Then in '86, I got an Acorn Electron. By this time I was 17, 18, something like that. It was already obsolete. They had discontinued it, which is why I was able to get one, because it was cheap. Bought it for £60 with a tape deck built in, and but you could still get games for them. I got Elite, I got Exile, I got a Starship Command, and all the bundle. There were several bundle games with it, and it was still in that period where video, or in this case computer gaming, was a widely accepted and acceptable thing for boys of my age to do, and it was what I did when I got home. And in fact it was by this time an escapist thing. But by this time life at home was unpleasant. I won't go into more detail than that. It just wasn't a nice place to be. So I would shut myself away in my bedroom with my computer and play games. And that was it. It was get up, go to work, come home, shut myself in my bedroom, play video games. Until I went to bed. That was I had CB radio then as well, so that fitted in there. And it did. It became kind of obsessive, but it was escapism. It served a very good purpose at that time, where the obsessiveness was maybe not especially a good thing, but it was necessary at that time. I continued to use the Electron up until, God, it was about 1991, and by this time, by about 1989, I was still using my Electron. It was by this time vastly out of date, but I couldn't afford any of the newer systems. I mean, the Amiga and the ST were a big thing in the UK by this time. There were Mega Drives around and stuff. I think, sure exactly what year the Mega Drive came out, but anyway, I didn't have one yet. 16-bit gaming was becoming a thing. If you were into 8-bit gaming, the NES and the Master System were what console gamers were using. They weren't especially massive in the UK, but when you looked at the magazines, the games that were available made the games that I was playing look childish, and that was the thing. By this time, gaming, and in particular 8-bit gaming, was viewed as a kid's thing. It was something kids did. And here I was, early 20, 21, something like that, still playing video games because I loved it. I didn't want to stop. And I would get people saying, why are you doing that? That's a kid's thing. Why are you doing a kid's thing? But to me, it was like, why would I stop? Why would I not do this? I enjoy this. It's fun. I don't get it. And I understood that it was perceived as a kid's thing, but I didn't get why would it be uncool to continue doing something you enjoy? And so it became, I was a bit conflicted, and I almost stopped. I very, very nearly stopped at the end of like my Electron period of gaming, just before I bought a Mega Drive. It was like secret gaming. Don't tell anyone you play video games because they laugh at you. And then the Mega Drive came out, and I waited till the first price drop actually and bought one, and still got mocked, which really pissed me off actually. And the thing that turned it all around was Sonic the Hedgehog. All of a sudden, that thing that was just a kid's pastime, a kid's toy for young children or young teens that 20-somethings really shouldn't do because it was just unbecoming for people of that age, all of a sudden was cool again. Sonic the Hedgehog was cool, and by the time Sonic 2 came out, the media had, their attitude had changed. Older people could play these and not have to hide away or feel embarrassed. And it felt less, there was no embarrassment. I was happier playing it. I didn't have to keep it a secret or have to be some kind of apologist for playing video games. It hadn't quite reached the peak of acceptability, shall we say, social acceptability thing. I'll get my words out. But it was, you weren't a freak if you played video games. And of course I had the Mega Drive and then the SNES and the Amiga, and with the Amiga it was this, the Amiga became really special for me because it wasn't just games. I played lots and lots of games on it, but I did so much more with it. Graphics and music and animation and stuff like that, and then the internet. So it was a tool as well as a gaming system. It was a serious piece of kit, especially the stuff that I crammed into it. No one could look at it and say that's just a games machine, because it really was. I'm looking down there because it's just there. It's this beastie here that's got stuff sitting on top of it. That no one was looking at that and saying, well, that's just a kid's toy. Yeah, so at that time it became a normal kind of pastime, but gaming and computing for me were kind of all merged into one. But it had an unhealthy side to it as well. Actually, I don't know if this is... my relationship with gaming and my relationship with my girlfriend at that time became complicated, because ultimately she wasn't the right person for me and I wasn't the right person for her. What it amounted to was I found my computer more interesting than I found her, with the predictable end result that we split up because I wasn't paying her enough attention, because frankly she was boring me. Yeah, it wasn't good. But, you know, I think it was for better in the end, because I'm very happy with my wife. And who knows what would have happened if I'd have stayed with that girlfriend. But, yeah, so I suppose an element of unhealthy obsession crept in there again. Or maybe it's just that she was boring and the computer really was more interesting. Whatever. It kind of... it took me a long while to get my head around all of that, because it broke my heart. Oddly, though I was bored, I was unprepared for what it's like when you split up with someone. It messed me up for a while, and for a while I blamed gaming, but to ease the pain, buried myself in gaming. On 32X games, I just like Doom, Virtua Racing, Star Wars. Played them massively, and again they became a escape, if you like. It was escapism, lose yourself in the video games, and that lasted a while. By the time the PS1 came out, gaming had become mainstream. It was acceptable whatever age you were. It was cool. I mean, you had the whole Psygnosis thing, their games, Wipeout being played in the nightclubs, which was a deliberate thing to alter people's perception of what video games were and who they were meant to appeal to, and made them cool. So I had my PS1, and I was an avid gamer, and I had lots of friends who had PS1s, and it became a social thing. It kind of had been with my Amiga as well, but particularly with the PS1. I knew so many people with them, and people would come round to my place, or I would go to their place, and you could play multiplayer, and you could link up. God knows, a friend of mine would come round like late in the evening, and we'd still be playing the next morning, playing linked up, 2 PS1s linked up, playing Command & Conquer Red Alert. All night, absolutely all night, and part way through the next day we would play that. But it was healthy, it was social, and it was acceptable. You could say to people when, you know, at work, oh, I was playing so-and-so on PS1 last night, and they knew what you were talking about because they'd got one as well. Everyone had one. PS2, the obsessiveness kind of set in for me with the PS2. It was still mainstream, it was acceptable, and it was very, very immersive by this time. Games had got bigger, and you could lose yourself in them in a way that you couldn't really so much with the PS1. Grand Theft Auto, I mean San Andreas. I was sort of living a second life in San Andreas. I was on the internet at this time. I was in and out of work. Work by this time was getting... For a long time I'd been working at Tesco, and then I left there just because I was so sick of it. And I went and did agency work, and then was at various places. But agency being unpredictable, there were periods of being out of work. And when I was out of work, I would lose myself in things like Grand Theft Auto. And it was always kind of frustrating because it was this other world. And I was using the internet as well. I had lots of online friends, but I didn't have many friends in the real world. And so if it was like 3 or 4 or something stupid o'clock in the morning, and I was bored and lonely, if it was one of the periods where I didn't have a girlfriend, and around that time I didn't for a while. I'd spent a couple of years just single, not unhappy at being single, but you know, it would get kind of lonely at times. And so I would put on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and wander around, and it was always frustrating or disappointing. I would have my bloke walk up to people in the street, and you know, you'd get the in-game characters talking to each other, just the random ones on the street, and I'd walk up and listen to them and be thinking, God, I wish they were responsive so I could talk to them and they'd talk back, which is really sad and says actually, yeah, I was quite lonely. But yeah, it became sort of obsessive, sort of escapist, but probably not entirely healthy. I don't know what else did I play back then? Couldn't really tell you, but that was the most immersive one of the lot. I'm looking at them, if you're wondering why I'm tilting my head. They're over there. I've got 2 shelves full of them. Yeah, but then by the end, I did a bit of PC gaming then as well. Far Cry and Half-Life 2. Anyway, but it was mostly PS2. I met Andrea towards the end of my PS2 gaming period, phase, thing, and my approach, attitude, whatever, relationship with gaming changed again. It became something I did when I had nothing better to do, and frequently I had and now have better, more important, more practical, more useful, more necessary things to do. I no longer live in a poky little flat where there wasn't an awful lot of things that needed cleaning, maintaining, animal. God, live in a bloody zoo here. You know, there's a lot to do. And a wife who I spend time with, because that's what you do. That's the whole point, is being with someone and spending time with them. So now, to me, gaming is something that I do when I haven't got anything else to do, which means I don't have a lot of time for it. Less these days. I mean, I have a PS3, and for a while I spent quite a bit of time playing games, and it became clear actually I was spending too much time. I was spending as much time as I wanted, but what I wanted actually when you're in a relationship wasn't really reasonable. So for a little while it was kind of, I had an unhealthy relationship with it. I had my priorities a bit wrong. And Andrea eventually said, look, come on, we need to talk about this. And I realised, yeah, I didn't want to go down the path that I'd gone before, because while with that previous girlfriend I was bored, with Andrea I'm absolutely not. So yeah, the gaming, it's been reprioritised, and it's just something to fit in when there's some spare time. And that affects the kind of games that I play a lot. Where it used to be I would get into immersive games and completely lose myself in them, either in the story or just in the world. I can't do that anymore. I don't have the time. Like once in a blue moon, well, a few times a month, I will find myself, or make for myself, about 4 hours where I can just play and play and play and play. But I can't pick an immersive a game with a big storyline, because the next time I find myself with 4 hours is going to be several weeks away, by which time I will have forgotten what's happened. If there was a storyline, I've forgotten it. So I'm very much either doing pick up and play or something with no storyline. So this is why retro gaming for me really works. And you can just, the 3DS, Mario Kart, you can just pick that up and play it. There's nothing to try and remember. If I'm playing on the PS3, I will twat about on Grand Theft Auto. I've not followed the storyline for a bit, but it is one where you don't actually have to remember the story, because it's mission based. You go in there, here's your mission, go do it. A few minutes just trying to remind yourself of the controls, and you can do that because you don't have to go straight to the mission. You can just twat about, which I like to do a lot. Gran Turismo, because though there is a progression, there's no story. You don't have to remember anything. It's like, here are the races you can enter, pick one. And Battlefield 3, no storyline whatsoever. And I love that. I love playing that because it is immersive, but there's no story progression. There's the progression of your rank, but I don't give a crap about that. It's different every time you play it, because it's real people. So yeah, it's a peculiar kind of relationship I have with gaming now. It is something I fit in when I can. I think it's healthy. It's not something I do obsessively anymore. It's not an escapism thing. It's something... When I'm playing Battlefield, if I've got myself several hours to play, it is actually like meditation. I zone out. It's like I was saying to Chris, if I'm playing for 4 hours, for 2 hours, I will be appalling. I will be the guy who no one wants on their team, because I'll stumble around and my kill-death ratio will be appalling. I will die loads. But then I'll have an hour where I'm just tuned into it and I'm oblivious to whatever else is happening in the room around me, which is generally nothing except dogs milling about. And I'm quite good. It's kind of that hour of being good balances out with the previous 2 hours and the following hour where I'm crap, because in the following hour I get tired and lose my focus. But I checked my stats on it recently, and I have a kill-death ratio, or yes, it is kill-death. I die twice for every kill that I get, which just shows how good that 1 hour is compared to the 3 bad hours, because in the 3 bad hours I'm probably dying 10 times for every kill that I get. But there is that 1 hour in the zone, and it is like meditation. That 1 hour is bliss. The world doesn't exist except what's on that screen in front of me. So yeah, gaming for me, it's meditation when I can find the time, and the rest of the time it is just a quick blast every now and then. Yeah, I probably play something every single day, but sometimes it's only for 10 minutes. It's a time filler when there is spare time, and it is just interesting how your relationship with gaming changes over the years. I'm at a point now where I don't... Like, there's new hardware out, and I look at it and I don't know if I want it. because I don't know if I need it. The games that are out for the PS3 at the moment they're good enough. They fulfill my gaming needs extremely well. And of course I've got various different... I've got the 3DS, I've got the Android tablet, and all the retro stuff. So it's like, PS4, why do I need one of those? I don't have many hours to dedicate to any big, long storyline type games, even if there are any, because I don't know how extensive the software library is right now. Not at all sure, but it's like... I've seen videos of PS4 games, and they're pretty. They are pretty, but they're like PS3 on steroids, or they're just slightly more colourful or something. They're clearly nicer, but the step up from the PS3 isn't like it was from PS1 to PS2, PS2 to PS3. It's like, yeah, that's nice, but I don't know where gaming is going. I don't know. It's not like my interest is waning. I still love gaming, but it doesn't have such a big place in my life anymore. Certainly making videos of it means I game more than maybe more than I would otherwise. Maybe actually I'd be doing more modern gaming if I wasn't spending time making videos. Who knows? I'm not sure. I don't know where it's going. But I don't worry about it, because wherever it is, it's good, because gaming is fun. And however I choose to do it, in the end it will still be fun. It's never stopped being fun. There you go. That is my changing relationship with gaming over the whole of almost the whole of my life, starting from when I was 4. Video response is welcome. Uber long comments will be read, but not necessarily receive uber long replies, because, come on, I struggle enough already. That's that then. What have I got coming up? Well, what I guess I said I was going to do this week, but then didn't. I don't know. Like I said, life is a little bit chaotic at the moment. Things are... We've got a cat that is ill. He's at the vet at the moment, and that's actually taking up an amount of time and attention and stuff. He's coming back today. He's being tube fed. I imagine he's going to take quite a bit of our attention. It's Farl. He's the obnoxious tosser of a cat. He's 19 years old. He's deaf as a post. He's got cataracts. And he's just come down with pancreatitis, which is potentially a killer if you don't catch it early enough. But we did, and it's like he's being tube fed. He looks like he's going to pull through. He's coming back, and we'll tube feed him here, because at the vets he is less inclined to eat, and if they don't eat, it kills them very quickly. Massively expensive getting him treated. God, I wish they had an NHS for pets. But it's like, there is a train of thought that says he's 19 years old. Cats generally don't live that long, or not much after it. Why spend that much money on him? But damn it, it's like, it's one thing wrong with him. If his kidneys were going and his heart was bad and his lungs were bad, we'd be like, yeah. But he's such a swine and such a persistent bastard in everything he does. We just want to give him a decent crack of the whip. Because he's been here so damn long. I mean, he's been in this house longer than I have. It would be horrible to see him not here, really. However horrible he might be. You can't believe how horrible that cat is. You just can't. The dogs are scared of him. The other cats are scared of him. I mean, he's calmed down a bit now. He doesn't see and hear so well, but he's still a swine. If a dog walks in front of him, across the nose, claws. The dogs frequently, you hear one of the dogs squeal. It's Farl. Anyway, yeah, that's just one of the several things that are going on at the moment that are taking up time. You didn't need to know any of that, but I thought I'd tell you about it anyway, because why not? Yeah, so coming up, I still got a couple of Game Boy games to do. After that, I don't know. I have done some other videos on other channels that you might have missed, because I've been sort of neglecting them a bit. There is the one on BenwaysWorld, which I know a few of you have seen, called Worksop, in the dead of night, which it's kind of a creepy thing. go along to BenwaysWorld if you're interested in that. It is just me out in the middle of the night when there's no one about, weird sound effects, which is just ambient noise, but it's slowed down so it sounds weird and it all looks weird and it's creepy and odd, and it might give you nightmares for no obvious reason because nothing actually happens. I've done another PlayingAndroidBadly game. It's Raiden, what's it? Well, it's 4 Raiden games on one thing. And there's a new Isambard video as well, for those who've not seen that, and that would mean most of you. So if you're familiar with my other channels, there is new content on them. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, what I'm going to be doing, more of the same when I can fit it in. Yeah, that's that. I've got a video playing there. I thought I don't want just a blank screen with a constant light. I'd like a bit of flickering, which you probably can't even. It's probably not doing it at all. Yeah, I'll shut up now. Thank you for watching.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the thumbs up button. I upload videos daily, so go ahead and hit subscribe if you'd like to see more. To all those who've already subscribed, I'd just like to say a great big thank you.
Your or my mind blank.